Michael Bonfils. I run a company called SEM International. I've been in the space for 20 some years. I'd like to actually bring that down to 15 years, but that's not the reality. I'm going backwards. I think after being in the business for a while, when you start employing people that have been on this earth less than you have been in this industry, that becomes a problem. And that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to say I just started like 6 months ago.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you. I love the industry and I've learned so much ever since then. So thank you for having me host with you, Eli. And with that, I'll pass it off to you, sir.
Hey, so I'm Eli Schwartz. I'm honored to be here with Michael, who is a mentor of mine, and now here with Stephanie. I'm a growth advisor. I work with companies and helping them figure out how to get more organic traffic and not spend too much money to get that organic traffic. And I've been a passionate attendee and speaker at many events. And the last year has been horrific for many people, but events in particular, both from a empathetic standpoint, I feel bad for people in that space, but also I really miss it. I like being around people and I hate being stuck in my room. So Michael and I are having these conversations with the people that we look up to and host events, and Stephanie's here with us. Your conference organizer for so much more than just content marketing world and all the content marketing events. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to be here. I'm going to top you on the numbers. I've been working in this space for 30 years. With the content marketing, I'm general manager for the Content Marketing Institute, which I started working with in 2016. But before that, was running content marketing for another part of our parent company, which is Informa. Before that, I was running digital media in the tech space for the same company. So I've been in the media and content business for many, many years. Love content marketing, love Content Marketing Institute, love what I do. Yes, in the event space, however, we've been dealt quite a few bits of craziness over the past year, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We've adapted.
You certainly have, and that's what we want to ask you about today. So let's start at the beginning. I mean, a couple of years ago when you started so company now is called UBM. What was it called when you first started?
No, actually, when I first started, it was called CMP Media. That company was acquired by UBM, and UBM was acquired by Informa.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you what was the first time you hosted an event? Like how'd you figure out that you were going to do that?
You mean like a real, way back? Like the real in-person, like in the before times, you mean?
The before times, before 2020.
Oh gosh, so many years ago. I was running a brand called Information Week, and we held executive conferences several times a year. And, these were sort of, really white glove types of events, right? Really high level, usually at some beautiful resort, that type of thing. And that's where I really, first got started in events. And then through the years, it grew into other things, regional events, one-day events, digital events. I mean, we've been doing digital events for years. It was only until 2020 where that was our only choice, but we have been doing that. And then, Content Marketing Institute, we do a number of digital events every year. We do a content tech summit in the spring, summertime, and then Content Marketing World is our big event that we do in the fall. And 2020 would have been our 10th anniversary for that event. And we were looking forward to all sorts of fun, exciting celebrations. And so I think for 21, if we can be in person, which we're hopeful for, we're going to have some kind of rewind party or something, so we can celebrate that decade.
Can you bring back some old speakers too from the beginning? I think that'd be pretty intriguing.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Notes or something like that. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be fun. And as it was when we first started planning, before we knew what was ultimately going to happen, but in the early months of the year, we were looking at all sorts of fun things to do, where we could either do slideshows or bring back some old video, some of the popular speakers way back and then today. And, we have a number of people, a number of speakers and a number of attendees who have been there every single year. So we like to celebrate them anyway, but it would be fun to bring back some of the year one speakers as well. So thank you for that idea.
So who's that? So like, who's the speaker you really want to come back?
Oh gosh, no, that's like choosing a favorite child.
Yes,
that is like choosing, I can't say that. No, there's so many good ones, Eli, so many good ones, including yourself. So there's so many good ones.
I loved like the diversity of the speakers at the conference. You had everyone that was speaking about, like, that was like the thing that was surprising to me, because I'm like strictly an online marketer. And then I found out like people talk about print and magazines and audio and radio and podcasts and video and TV. And like, I love that, because like too much in the online world, we distill it down to like a click. And really this marketing world, like if you think about all the marketing budgets, it's well beyond like Google and Facebook. Like, the Super Bowl is about to happen, and that is a big budget event. And that is not Google and Facebook. Well, they advertise in it, but there's a lot more beyond them.
Yeah. I mean, content, creative content from so many different channels, so many different places. I mean, you're right. There's a big world out there. There really is.
Yeah. I do international, and I've done international search for eons. And I see that too. And now we're at a stage in life where everything seems to be coming together, especially post-COVID. So I'm wondering how post-COVID, knowing that traditional media is kind of, people have realized that, we could do so much in digital that we were forced to do because of COVID. Maybe we're not going to go back to traditional. And I'm wondering, how is that going to shape your event in the future? How is this new kind of a new post-COVID period going to look for your programs?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, there are so many people, companies, people, individuals have become comfortable with doing things digitally now. And while so many of us too cannot wait to get back to a face-to-face event and, see our friends, see our colleagues. I mean, you think about it, for a brand like mine, my whole team is somewhere else, right? We're all distributed. Our events are places for our teams to get together too. So it's personal too. Yeah. And I miss my team. And, but I do think, we're going to be in this, situation where there is going to be an expectation for high quality virtual events for many, many years. Some people can't wait to get back to face-to-face. So the expectation will be high quality face-to-face event. And we've got to figure out how to create those great experiences in both worlds for a long time. I mean, this past year, when we were 100% virtual, we had a significant number of first-time attendees. And that's because, hey, in the past, I couldn't make that week work because my kids were just starting school, or it's too expensive to fly from Australia, or I can't afford a week out of, work to go to a conference. So I finally get to go. We'll always have those people, and I think particularly in 21, I mean, people are going to be on travel restrictions for a while, right? Budget restrictions, travel restrictions. And so it's up to us to figure out how to please both crowds, assuming that we can safely be face-to-face. It's January, right? We'll see, but yeah, that's the challenge now. And we're, challenge accepted. I mean, we're going to work really hard at it because I don't think we're going to move back from this digital excitement ever, really.
Yeah.
I just had an epiphany there. That hadn't occurred to me before. You're essentially dealing with the exact same challenge as the movie theaters are. Like, people like to go out, and Netflix was this little, like, that's when you don't want to go out. And now people are like, well, tell me why I have to go out. Because I think that's what's happened with like digital content in the conference space. Like, well, if I could just watch the video on my own time, or, sit on the couch and not have to like show up and, fight for a seat, why should I do any of that? especially when the pricing works out. I assume that many of the virtual events are even more profitable for conference organizers, because you don't have to get the Mindy Kaling to come speak, and you don't have to get the convention center, and you don't have to get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, so you have to figure out how to, even live sports has this problem. It's like, well, how do we get you to come out and enjoy the experience? And it's about the experience. It's not about what you're watching. So that's fascinating. So how are you thinking about that?
Yeah.
I love the movie theater analogy. It's actually quite perfect. And I mean, I just think about myself. My husband loves to go to movie theaters. That's a night out for him. He loves to go watch a movie with a whole bunch of other people on a big screen in a cold room. I don't. I would much rather be sitting on my sofa watching Netflix with my glass of wine. Like we have such different, and I think this is how our industry is. I mean, there's some people who are way more content to just get their education or entertainment or sports or whatever like this, whereas others want to be in person, and having those hallway conversations and enjoying cocktails with new friends or peers from different industries or whatever. So this is how it's going to be. I don't think we'll ever go back to what it was like before, and for many good reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if have you ever seen The Lonely Guy with Steve Martin?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of the best idea. You can actually get dressed and come out of your house and then come back, knock on the door and come in and just talk to a bunch of cutouts and mingle with everybody while on your big screen TV have your conference running. I think it's kind of the best of the both worlds, right, Eli? I mean,
I think they call it Clubhouse.
Is that what it is, being alone? Good response.
Clubhouse is like it's like a cross between like a conference, talk radio, and a podcast.
And you're alone.
And you're
talking
alone
to yourself.
Yes.
That's great.
And they stole the word stage. Just because you get to speak, you're not on a stage.
Exactly. I do agree that this is going to force some changes, but it also made me think about some other things that you brought up earlier, right? One, I'll have to say Information Week is one that I used to read, and I thought I was so cool reading it. I had no idea what the fuck I was reading, but I was telling all my friends I was reading Information Week. But that also brings back the other thing I wanted to say was that a small event, starting small, starting more exclusive, yet combining that with a group that can actually log in and still be part of it. Maybe that's what it'll look like. Still there, like you said, there's going to be people working from home. There's budgets are going to be cut, and then there's going to be people that want to get out, like me. I can't wait to get out. I've planned a year's worth of traveling just to get out and be everywhere possible. But at least people can kind of experience that if you combine it in a way. And I know that in the past it was awful and a failure, and people don't want to watch somebody's head walking by a camera and all this noise in the background, and finally it starts, and you know what I mean. But there's got to be a middle road. Have you guys thought about what is that middle road in the future? Will you combine a offline and an online event together so that people can almost feel like they're in that space?
That's the plan. So we're moving forward. Again, it's so early in the year, but we're moving forward with this idea that we will be able to gather. We don't know what the number is. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what local, restrictions are. We'll have to see how safe the world is at that time. But let's assume it's safe. So, we're looking to gather, but we're also looking to offer a digital experience for people who don't feel safe, don't have the money, don't have the time, whatever the case may be. Right. So that's where we're going to try to figure out, well, what elements do we live stream that'll be part of it. We'll certainly live stream our keynotes, for example. But what other elements should we live stream? We do a lot of content, right? We typically have, a dozen tracks running concurrently, and that's after, a few keynotes, and then we bring people back from work. I mean, we have a lot of content. So the onus is now to figure out, well, how much of that content do we want to make available live? How much of that content do we want to pre-record and make available for the digital watchers? What ways can we help anybody attending virtually get a sense of what the mood, get a sense of what's going on? Say maybe we walk around the expo hall floor, maybe we do interviews throughout the convention hall with attendees, with sponsors, with speakers, but to somehow give that digital audience more of the human side of it than just simply watching a presentation, on their laptop. We want them to be able to feel some of it. And so that it's going to be a challenge, but this is what we're working towards. This is what we want to try to do, so that if you just can't be in Cleveland at the end of September, we're going to try to bring it to you, so.
That's so awesome. I think that'd be great. If you have somebody roaming around the halls with a speaker and being able to interview people, I think that'd be great. That just really includes people in on what's going on, and I think there's opportunities there to make people want to go to the conference. So I learn about conferences that way quite often, that I see them, or a friend sends me pictures and everything else, and I'm like, oh man, that's something I wanted to be at. By the way, I'm a judge for the European Content Awards, and I just got to choose some categories last night, so I'll be starting to do that. With your organization, is there an awards, or do you guys do awards, or can you tell me a little bit about that?
We do. Yeah, we do content marketing awards each year. We open our entries in mid-March. And we have about 90 different categories that we judge. Many of our judges, are longtime judges from the community. Some on our team do so as well. And then we have a couple of top categories: content marketer of the year, project of the year, agency of the year, things like that. We wait and announce those winners at Content Marketing World. The other categories the winners are announced during the summer, but we hold the biggies for Content Marketing World. We invite the finalists. Oftentimes we invite finalists to be speakers as well. And so that's kind of like, and we have a little ceremony at the event, and it's great to celebrate these people and projects in front of thousands of their peers, so it's always a special time. And every year we say the same thing. It's like, oh my God, the entries, there's so much great stuff, there's so much innovation, and it's going to be really interesting to see this year, because a lot of what we will get for submissions will be very much pandemic related, content that was created specifically to help people, through this pandemic in whatever ways it is, and so it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, we've
everything's
experienced.
changed.
I think, Eli, you were a judge on the search awards with me, I think recently, right? Or I think you were judging some.
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of them. They always make me feel inadequate. Like, so smart and so creative, and like there's like a low budget one, and I'm like, how did they do that with $200? So yeah, I like them. I just learned so much from them, even though it's a lot of work to really go through all of them.
Yeah, I agree. But there has been some great entries on really creative things around what's happened with COVID, and what you can do with a small budget, or what you can do with a massive budget that you're not used to. A lot of digital marketers are in a rock and a hard place, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, here's their TV budget, by the way, it's 10 million. Can you spend that in a month? And we're like, what? What? Uh-oh. Yeah, of course.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this, so we have, categories around social media and visual storytelling and that sort of thing. So this will be the first year we have a category around TikTok. And so I'm really curious to see entries that we get there, because I don't know if you guys ever look at TikTok, but there's some amazing content. I'm not kidding. There's some amazing content.
It's so amazing how they tapped into like the perfect thing that YouTube already thought they had covered.
Yeah, honestly, I could just scroll for hours sometimes. Not that I've ever done that, but I could,
Yeah, I know. I blame it on my kids. I don't watch TikTok. I watch my kids, my 10-year-old and my 7-year-old watch TikTok, and I just happen to be in the same room and for hours on end as well.
For hours on end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with today. There's too many choices. Like, remember when you had only like 13 channels on TV and there was nothing to watch? You just went outside.
And we were bored to death. Eli, come on. We were bored. You know it.
Now we're oversaturated.
I know. Yeah, there is no shortage.
Yeah. Never a shortage. And that's like the challenge with the conference space. It's like, it just feels like another thing instead of the thing.
Yeah, there's no, I know honestly, in this purely digital world right now, there's just no shortage of content. So, you have to rise above, you have to have the greatest content, you have to. There's too much competition for eyeballs. Every digital event, everyone is one click away from doing something else, or they could be distracted by something going on in their home, whatever, that's the reality. So if you can't capture that attention, it's, that's where events win or lose, because it's just too easy to say, I'm done with this, let me just click over to my email, and that's it. You're in email for the next 2 hours, so.
I just did a virtual thing that was pre-recorded, and I realized I got some interesting data from it because I threw an Easter egg in there where I asked people, I had a template and I said, reach out if you want to access a template. And I'm seeing the hours that people email me. They email right after they watched it. So I'm getting like emails like 3 a.m. So that is the advantage to the virtual. It's just like, you can do this whenever you want. And like, I know like going to conferences, especially Content Marketing World, where you had 12, sessions at the exact same time, you have to choose, and the convention center is huge. So you can't be like, I think I'll do like A, and then if that sucks, I'll go over to like E, because then it's like a 20-minute walk.
It's a workout. We like to say we are helping your, mind, get stronger as well as your body, because we can make you work out.
Yes. And I'm glad the weather's nice, so you can even cut outside in September.
It is true. It is true. Yes.
So let's talk about some of the speakers. Like, who do you choose the speakers, or you're part of the team that chooses speakers?
We have a team. Yep. We have a speaker committee. For Content Marketing World, we'll put out our call for speakers in just another week or so. And then we have a committee that reviews all of the submissions. That we don't really stop there. We also recruit a lot of speakers too, for certain topics or gaps or whatever. I have a blog running next week on our website that it's really an appeal to our community too, to help us out, because we've made a very strong commitment to continuing to increase the diversity of our speakers. We want our speakers to reflect our community, and you can't just do that with reviewing speaker submissions alone, right? And so we're asking the community for help. If we're people that have wowed them, that they've seen at other events, or people that they know who are doing amazing things, to really help us in that effort. So it's many months of work trying to line up all of the speakers. This year we'll have the added challenge that we could choose, say on, the first round of reviews, we choose 50 great speakers. Well, we'll have to then talk about, well, are you comfortable doing this face-to-face, or is this something you would want to do virtually and pre-records? Because even with speakers, not everybody is going to be able to travel, assuming that we can. So we're going to try to figure that out. So we'll do some pre-records of some speakers who don't want to come to the face-to-face event and such. But it's many months of work looking to build the perfect agenda.
Wow, that is a lot of work, especially this year. So what do you look for in the perfect speaker?
The Perfect speaker. So we love stories and practical advice. Like when somebody leaves a session, whether it's the SEO track or the content strategy track or whatever, we want them to walk away with, at least 5 tips that they can take back to their teams next week, whenever they get back to work, whatever. So we're looking for, success stories. We're looking for challenges that they've overcome, through their content strategy or whatever. We're obviously looking for personality and people who feel comfortable looking people in the eyes and talking and or feeling comfortable doing this on video, because I tell you what, some speakers who are amazing on a stage aren't really that comfortable doing virtual because they want that interaction. They want to see reactions. They want to see the emotion and they want to read the audience. And that's very hard to do when you're sitting in your office by yourself recording a presentation. You have no feedback. Yeah. So, so basically we really want people to walk away with ideas that they can put into place either immediately or help with their longer term strategy. So.
I agree with that. I mean, I've done both. So I have done lots and lots of speaking. And over the years, I've gotten so used to just reading the audience and looking at them and engaging with them. And it's fun. It's a barometer. It helps me kind of lean toward what points I really want to get out, and are they getting it? And I don't get that with video. I have a hard time with video, and then I listen to myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I sound like I'm
by yourself
teaching like 5-year-olds. Why am I speaking so slow? And just all these things, I get really mad, and then I can't. I'm embarrassed to watch myself.
Here's a trick that we did for a few speakers that I'll tell you. You may want to consider. So when you record on Zoom, if you've got multiple people recording, right, you could be recording just the speaker view, like just me right now, for example, and somebody else could be recording something else. So for some speakers, we brought an audience. We had a digital audience. So they could see, multiple people around the Zoom screen. They could get the nods, they could get the laughter, they could see, what was working. Still not the same as doing it in person. But it gives you some of those visual cues that sometimes make people just feel more comfortable, So, and then what you show is just the speaker view, in the end. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
yeah.
It's been amazing.
You get your kids.
Yeah. Oh, I'd rather do it alone. It's amazing how much is on Zoom. I was watching, this is last week, the Janet Yellen confirmation hearings. Like, she was on Zoom. The senators were like in the Senate, and she was on Zoom. It's like, that's tough. You're trying to convince people to give you an important job like that, and you're in your living room on an arguably not great connection.
Right. Yeah. And it's harder to interrupt someone if you're the only one on Zoom. Whereas if you're in the room with somebody, you can be like, wait, let me get this point in. So you don't have the advantage of all those cues either. So.
The other thing is like, I mean, my kids shared this with me, is I don't know if you've seen the video of the teacher who farted during homeschool. And, you have to watch that.
Now I have homework to do.
It is like, it is funny, but you're recorded with that. And that's half the battle, is that, hey, not that you're going to do something like that, but you're recorded like permanently. And as a speaker, it's like, well, that was me 3 years ago when I was a novice, and now you're judging me now, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can't take it back. Once it's recorded, it's digital. It's there forever.
Yeah.
Well, you have your recordings anyways of the events, so I always I never know when there's a recording, so I always try to do my best to assume there was one. I think my best recording ever was I went to Estonia, so to speak at a conference there, and I was being a little cheap with the plane tickets. So instead of flying directly, or I couldn't fly directly, but instead of taking one layover, I found tickets for a quarter of the price to do 2 layovers. So I was able to bring my whole family with me, and there were 2 points of failure and they both failed. And I ended up sleeping in the airport and getting picked up and brought directly to the stage. And they said, and I got dressed in the plane bathroom. And then they said, can we get you anything? And I'm like, yes, just a massive cup of coffee. And for any Scandinavians that listen to this, you all need to work on your coffee. It's not ideal.
Wasn't strong enough.
No, it's just a different flavor. You can get that experience if you buy coffee at IKEA. Never a place that people think you can get coffee, quality coffee. And it is not a place to get quality coffee. So I'm on the stage and it was my best presentation ever because I didn't remember giving it. And then I found out they had a really expensive video crew. And I was I watched that video. I'm like, that's what I need to do. I need to not sleep for 2 days and have no idea where I am and be exhausted and drink terrible coffee.
You know what it was? Probably because you didn't have time to overly prepare or get nervous about it. You just had to do it. So that's,
I was just if I don't do this, then they don't pay for my tickets. They flew me all the way here. No matter what, I'm going to make this thing and I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's funny. It's just, my best presentations were always the one where the pressure, it was like that. There was a lot of pressure. I'm not saying I wasn't prepared because I knew my material, but it was oh shit, I'm just going to do the best I can. And it turns out to be fantastic. And then there's ones that you over prepare for that bomb. And one time, this is great. I think you'll like this, Stephanie. I'm embarrassed to say this, but
you're being recorded, Michael, just reminding you.
It is recorded. I had such a great presentation. I practiced and everything. I practiced in the morning, and then I took a couple aspirins before I went on stage because I'm I have a little headache. I don't want this to ruin it. And then I got up on stage, and all of a sudden I could hardly say my name, and the microphone is flying past my head, and it's just oh my God, what is going on? And I just stumbled through this whole presentation. And I was so disappointed with myself. And I went back to my room. I'm what on earth happened? And I looked at my bottle where I keep my pills, and that was an Excedrin. It was actually 2 very large doses of codeine that I got from a root canal. So I was up there.
Wait, did you say it was recorded? It was recorded. We can go find this?
I hope not. I don't know if that one was recorded, but it would probably be entertaining. My name is, I couldn't remember my name. I'm trying to pronounce it. It was that bad.
Oh my gosh. Well, event producers always have so many stories to tell. I mean, stuff happens all the time. I mean, we've had speakers who, we're bleeding backstage, or, smoke alarms accidentally going off, or the speaker who's supposed to go on at 3:05 is on the way from the airport, pulling an Eli, on the way from the airport. And we're trying to, just buy some time and all kinds of crazy things. So,
well, speaking of that, can you give us some tips, or the audience some tips, of what doesn't work for you? How does somebody not get invited back to speak? Where are those things where there are absolute no-nos, don't ever do it again, or you did it and we don't want you back because of it?
Yeah, I'm happy to say I haven't had much experience with the absolute no, just horrible experience kind of thing, mostly because we vet speakers so much in the early process. But, we rely on data. Okay. We do a post-event survey, and we ask, that every speaker be rated, and not just the speaker, but also the topic. Because sometimes you might have an okay speaker, but the topic is really important to the audience. So we know maybe we just need a different speaker next year. We take that data very seriously. We look at every single comment that comes in. And, there have been times where a certain speaker has been overwhelmingly negatively rated. And so then we look at sort of the verbatims, basically. Well, why? What was it? And it could be any number of things, too political, or you know, too condescending to the audience or whatever, you know, but never anything horrible in my experience, thankfully. But I feel like the best thing we can do for our community is to trust that data, to trust what they're telling us, because we can't sit in every single, you know, session, right? We can watch them all on video later, but we really have to rely on that data. And most of the time, you know, I'm with surveys of that sort of thing. You really love somebody, you're going to rate them. You really hate somebody, you're going to rate them. The ones in the middle are like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, he was fine. Good. Yeah. But you might not take the time to go and fill out the survey. So that's our best barometer, really.
Okay, so let's get some tips on like, how can someone be a content marketing world speaker, either at the event, or if I want to ask you for some predictions for the rest of this year. If the year becomes more virtual, I'm sure you have lots of different smaller events and webinars. Like, how do you get involved with Content Marketing World and Content Marketing Institute?
Yeah, so we have a mailbox right on the site that you can email us. When we put out our call for speakers, we have a special place that we do ask people to submit to, and in that we ask for, you know, the potential title, you know, what you intend to accomplish with that talk, and we ask for a video. You know, we want a video submissions, and sometimes, you know, sometimes we're getting people from brands who aren't out on the speaker circuit, right? That's not what they do, but they have a good story to tell. So they might not have a video from, you know, some other conference a year ago to show us. So they'll record one. You know, they'll just do something at home to say, hey, you know, I'm Stephanie. I want to speak at Content Marketing World. I can talk about this. Here are the problems I think I can solve. These are the key takeaways I'm going to give you or give your audience, and, you know, would love to be there. And then we get at least to see the personality. We get to see how passionate they are about a topic. And so that's the best thing. Tell us your story. Tell us what you can help everybody in our audience and community solve for. Practical advice, details, ROI, KPIs. Let me throw out a little bunch of acronyms here. But you know what I mean? Like we love that kind of detail, you know, because that helps people walk away and say, oh my God, I learned so many great things from the session. I can't wait to take it back to my team.
That's awesome.
That's what we want.
Great advice.
Yeah. That's really cool.
All right, what's your prediction?
It seems like a win-win situation, and that's what you're looking for. You know, it's win-win for everybody. Win for the speaker, win for the attendee, that they walk away with something, and then of course that's a win for you because everybody's happy. You know,
for sure.
And that's a lot to manage, especially on during a pandemic, right? Even more so that you're experiencing things that you've never experienced before in the last year.
Yeah, kind of learning as we go, you know, last year, but in good ways, So
I want to ask you your prediction for 2021, but I remember that I forgot to write down. I want to hear a good celebrity story. You have so many amazing celebrities that you get to come speak at Content Marketing World. What's one that you can share?
Oh my gosh. Let me think about this. What is one I can share? I don't know if I can share any without it being obvious who it's about. You should have. I got to think about that one, Eli.
Well, I know that I wasn't there, but I know there was someone that didn't know he was in Cleveland. Was that? Oh no, that's what it was. There was someone that didn't know what content marketing was. They thought that the marketers were content. They were happy.
Content. What?
I wasn't there, but that's what I was told. Content marketers.
Content marketers. Wait, I don't know. That might have been before my time.
I heard a few of those, but I know you pay celebrities a bunch of money, but they usually don't feel like they have to be that prepared. They just have a spiel, so they give their spiel. So I can see that happening. And I think I also heard about someone not realizing they were in Cleveland. That's also, they probably took their codeine instead of their
instead of aspirin. Yeah. Oh my God. I need to hear your stories.
I have to go back to you.
Yeah, I really don't know those. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I have found all the celebrities we've worked with to be fantastic and also who tried to work hard to figure out what's the best message for this audience. Like what can I say? What are my experiences that, a room full of content creators, marketers, and creatives, what is going to appeal to them? And quite honestly, sometimes too, we just want fun. People work their brains in our sessions all day, and it's also nice just to have fun and laugh. And a lot of the celebrities we've brought in have helped do that too. They're teaching, they're inspiring, but they're also just making us laugh. And we could all use that kind of brain break, after intensive learning all week. So awesome. Yeah, if you'd given me more time to think about that one, I might come up with a story. I might still, and I'll tell you, but nothing's. Nothing.
Well, I like the celebrities you had. I ended up last year, I ran back to the airport and I was like, I got to get on my flight and like, never going to make it. And like, I left Mindy Kaling early and then she was on my flight. I was like, okay. I don't know how she got there before me.
Well, I keep again.
Yes, because I took the bike lane.
You took the bike lane and we had a car waiting for her out back, but
Hey, Uber told me they're as good as having my own personal limo. So much for that.
So much for
scooters?
That.
Is that what you took? A little scooter?
I took the Uber scooter. Exactly.
Luckily it's only a short drive anyway, but well, that's good. You got to see.
She was great.
Even more. She was awesome. Loved her so much. She was fantastic.
Yeah, I went back and binge watched all her stuff after that.
Yeah. I was a big fan before, and knowing that, we were going to have this coming up, it gave me an excuse to go back and watch a whole bunch of things I'd already seen, but it was just a lot of fun. And one of my daughters is a huge fan of The Office, and so we were binge watching that together, over the summer leading up to it, and that was a lot of fun. So, who should we have this year?
John Krasinski. He was like the I guess he would be the face of the beginning of the pandemic with his show, which it's such a shame it disappeared. Like when his show ended, you're like, okay, cool. The pandemic's over. We're all coming out of the house. It's like,
I know, right? We wish.
Kept that thing going.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we got to get someone really funny. Can you book someone now already, like not knowing what's going to be?
Too early. Yeah. I mean, it's just too early, but we're strategizing, we're coming up with our lists, but yeah, it's a little early in the game.
Is it hard it seems like everybody is doing the same thing that you're doing. So, which is strategizing, figuring out, when this thing opens up and where are we going to have it? Are you finding that there's a lot of competition? There's a lot of people that have been dying to do the same thing, and now it's like a convention center that predicts it'll be open in September is booked by 10 other conferences, and you guys are like in a bidding war practically to try to get that spot? Or
no, we reserve the space ahead of time. We have the space no matter what. So it then just becomes a question of, can we actually use it? And is it safe? Is the world safe enough to use it? And what are the local restrictions at that point, or mandates for safety? And so our event operations team is in close contact, and we'll see how things go month to month. If we wanted to do an event today in Cleveland, we could. I don't know that anybody would show up, but we could only have 300 people, for example, and everybody has to still be seated 6 feet apart, and there have to, there are all these rules for today. Those rules might change in February, March, April, May, so we'll see as we go how we have to look at that. But we've got the space, and we also, we're fortunate too that, we're part of a really big company, and Informa puts on events around the world, and there are parts of the world that are already getting back to face-to-face events because it's safe to do so. So we will have the benefit of learning from them as we go. And we have a weekly event team meeting globally, and everybody shares ideas. When an event has floored, that's our lingo for happened, when it's had floor, you know, they will talk about what worked, what didn't, what needs to change. I mean, it's just a great sharing of ideas. And so we all benefit from it. So we're paying close attention to what's going on, you know, around the world within our own company to kind of help us figure out the best way to produce content marketing world.
That's great. I really hope it happens. So what's your prediction? Your $1 million prediction?
Let me get my crystal ball here. Hold on. Let me see. I pull this out a lot these days.
It needs to
My
go a little bit more
prediction.
smooth.
I know. Well, that's the problem. It needs to go to the shop. Yeah, it's been used too many times. It needs to go to the shop. It's cloudy. You mean my prediction for content marketing world?
Do you think you'll have it? Like,
my prediction is that we will gather in Cleveland, a certain number of people in Cleveland, and people also digitally. That's my prediction, or maybe it's my hope for sure. But you know, we have quite a ways to go to get vaccines into more people's arms, and for people to feel safe traveling, and for companies to ease their own internal restrictions. And so, you know, but if we can't, we will do another kick-ass virtual event. That's our plan. So.
I believe it. Okay. Any last things, Michael? Any last questions? Stephanie, any last things you want to share? All right.
I would say to anybody who's watching this, if you are in the content business, in the marketing business, and you want to share your ideas, if you've got speakers who have just wowed you that you've seen at other events, or you have ideas for, you know, people we should bring in, or topics, or whatever, we're always open to listening. We love getting ideas from the community. So stephanie.stahl@informa.com. Email me. I'd love to hear from you.
All right. We'll make that a call to action on LinkedIn. Any promotions you have for people that do find a good speaker for you?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Email me. Yeah, absolutely.
If someone finds a good speaker for content marketing world that content marketing world never heard of, Stephanie will do something.
That's
no promises.
No. Seriously, I would though. I would. Okay. That's great. I would appreciate it. So I would be happy to give back.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. Really great to have you here.
It's so great talking to you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.